In September 1939, as German forces sweep across Poland and plunge Europe into war, the British government quietly mobilizes a secret weapon not made of steel and gunpowder, but of intellect and silence, a hidden code-breaking hub established in a Victorian mansion called Bletchley Park. Located in Buckinghamshire, surrounded by trees and countryside calm, it is chosen not for defense but for discretion, an unlikely headquarters for what would become one of the most decisive intelligence operations of the Second World War. The enemy they seek to defeat is not an army, but a machine, the German Enigma, used by the Wehrmacht, Luftwaffe, Kriegsmarine, and intelligence branches. Enigma scrambles messages into combinations so numerous that even modern mathematics struggles to compute them. The core mechanism relies on rotors, interconnected disks that shift electrical pathways with every keystroke, creating up to 150 quintillion possible settings in one configuration. German operators believe their communications are unbreakable. Early British codebreakers disagree, but only because they know something the Germans do not. The first cracks in Enigma's armor were made before the war by Polish cryptologists. In the 1930s, mathematicians Marian Rejewski, Jerzy Ricci, and Henryk Zagelski succeed in reconstructing the Enigma machine through mathematical analysis and intelligence obtained from the French. Rejewski breaks early versions of the cipher using permutation theory, and the Poles develop devices, the Bomba Cryptologiczna and Zagelski sheets, to find daily keys. In July 1939, with war looming, Poland shares these breakthroughs with Britain and France, providing the foundation upon which Bletchley Park will build. Once war begins, Enigma evolves rapidly. More rotors, plugboard expansions, improved procedures, and separate Enigma variants for different services, especially the German Navy, which enforces strict communication discipline. Bletchley Park expands to confront this growing complexity. Analysts, mathematicians, linguists, engineers, and thousands of members of the Women's Royal Naval Service, SINSITS, and WAIF join the effort, most sworn to secrecy so absolute that some family members would only learn decades later what their relatives accomplished. The park divides into specialized sections called huts. Hut 6 focuses on Army and Air Force Enigma. Hut 8, key to the naval cipher, becomes home to Alan Turing, a brilliant mathematician from Cambridge whose unconventional thinking leads to radical methods of attack. Turing is joined by cryptanalysts like Gordon Welchman, whose idea of the diagonal board for the decryption machine changes the nature of code breaking. Meanwhile, Dilly Knox, a veteran from breaking the Zimmerman telegram in WWI, contributes insights into cipher habits and operator psychology. Bletchley Park operates on the principle that no detail is too small to matter. A careless repeated phrase, a weather report, a misused call sign, each might open a door to a message stream believed invulnerable. But even with intellectual breakthroughs, humans alone cannot check billions of permutations in time to be militarily useful. War needs speed. Thus is born the bomb, an electromechanical machine designed by Turing and improved by Welchman to automate the search for correct Enigma settings. Rows of rotating drums simulate Enigma rotors, rapidly eliminating impossible configurations until a small number of potential solutions, called menus, remain for manual confirmation. The first bomb, named Victory, goes online in March 1940. By 1943, more than 200 bombs across Britain and in U.S. facilities operate day and night. Machines hum, wheels spin, wires spark, the sound of logic in motion. Yet, even as the bombs accelerate progress, not all Enigma is equal. The most critical traffic comes from the Kriegsmarine, German Navy, whose submarine fleet terrorizes Allied shipping in the Atlantic. Their version of Enigma, M44 rotor, introduced in February 1942, dramatically increases encryption complexity. Messages vital to U-boat coordination suddenly go dark to Bletchley Park. Convoys once guided by decrypted enemy instructions become blind again. Losses surge. Churchill calls the Battle of the Atlantic the dominating factor of the war. If codebreakers fail, Britain starves. The work becomes a race not only against machinery, but against drowning sailors. Solutions arrive from collaboration between intelligence sources, reconnaissance, captured documents, naval boardings, weather assumptions, and patterns of operator behavior. In particular, the capture of key cipher materials during daring missions, like the boarding of U-110 in May 1941, provides invaluable codebooks and rotors that let Hut 8 resume-reading naval messages. This intelligence, codenamed Ultra, becomes one of the war's most closely guarded secrets. Information obtained by reading Enigma is disguised through decoy reconnaissance, so the Germans never suspect the true source. Meanwhile, Bletchley Park's workforce swells to more than 10,000 by the end of the war, most of them young women entrusted with essential station work, running bombs, sorting intercepts, managing teleprinters, ensuring signals flow without delay. Their contributions, long overshadowed, form the backbone of the entire system. Nights blur into mornings. Logical puzzles mix with exhaustion. Friendships form in corridors. Romances spark under blackout curtains. Yet silence always governs their private lives. Psychological pressure is constant. Each mistake could cost ships, lives, battles. They often learn outcomes from newspapers, unable to reveal how they help shape them. Leadership at Bletchley Park insists on compartmentalization. One person in Hut the 8th of May never know what someone in Hut 6 is decoding only meters away. Need to know prevents catastrophic leaks. Outwardly, Bletchley appears a bureaucratic hive, but inside it functions like a nervous system, receiving signals, analyzing nerve impulses, responding quickly to prevent fatal damage. The cultural environment is unlike any other in wartime Britain. Formal hierarchies blur when logic outweighs rank. Turing, despite social awkwardness, becomes central, wearing a gas mask while biking due to hay fever, chaining his mug to a radiator so no one steals it, displaying genius that defies norms. His logical conception of computation, machines that follow algorithmic instructions to process information, lays theoretical groundwork for what will later become computer science itself. Still, operations are perilously dependent on enemy mistakes. German radio operators sometimes repeat predictable weather terms, wetterbricht, fail to change keys, or reuse message indicators. Errors that open windows for decryption. Every shortcut the enemy takes, every human flaw, becomes leverage. Through 1941 and early 1942, decrypted Enigma traffic enables RAF victories and protects merchant convoys. Ultra-intelligence confirms German strategies in North Africa and helps undermine Rommel. But vulnerability remains ever present. One change in procedure could plunge entire systems back into darkness. By mid-1942, new Luftwaffe Enigma settings temporarily halt progress in Hut 6. Naval code discipline remains brutally effective. Internal disputes arise over resource allocation, but urgency drives innovation. The war hangs in balance, and Bletchley, success or failure, will shape whether Britain endures. The story of Enigma is still unfolding, but one truth is already evident inside those huts. This secret battle of mathematics and machines is becoming as decisive as any fought with tanks and aircraft. By late 1942, the pressure on Bletchley Park has reached its peak. German U-boats continue to sink Allied ships faster than they can be built, and every lost convoy sends dozens of sailors to the bottom of the Atlantic. It is here that ultra-intelligence begins to tip the balance. As Turing and his colleagues accelerate breakthroughs in naval Enigma, decrypted German orders guide convoys away from submarine wolf packs, while Allied aircraft ambush U-boats based on precise location reports. At times, Admiralty operations appear nearly clairvoyant, but commanders maintain utmost secrecy. If Germany realizes Enigma is compromised, they will overhaul procedures in Bletchley, as vital access will vanish overnight. Yet, Enigma is only part of the story. The Nazi High Command increasingly relies on a more advanced and secure cipher system for strategic communications, the Lorenz SE 4042, used for messages between Hitler and the highest military leadership. Unlike Enigma, which scrambles individual letters, Lorenz encrypts teleprinter signals, producing vastly more complex ciphertext. The British intercept these transmissions using Y stations, but decoding them seems impossible until a fortunate operator error in 1941 reveals a crucial vulnerability. A prolonged message is mistakenly sent using the same starting settings. Mathematician Bill Tutt analyzes the patterns and creates a complete theoretical reconstruction of the Lorenz machine without ever seeing one physically, a triumph of pure logic. This breakthrough leads to the creation of Colossus, the world's first large-scale programmable electronic computer designed by engineer Tommy Flowers. Colossus can analyze ciphertext at unprecedented speed, reducing decryption time from weeks to hours. Its quiet hum inside Bletchley, Block F, marks a turning point. Computation becomes a battlefield weapon. With Enigma and Lorenz increasingly penetrated, ultra-intelligence expands into a strategic instrument. In North Africa, decrypted messages reveal Rommel's supply shortages and convoy schedules, enabling decisive Allied victories at El Alamein. On the Eastern Front, decrypts confirm that Hitler will prioritize Stalingrad despite catastrophic losses, allowing the Soviets to prepare defenses that ultimately encircle the German Sixth Army. Yet the most critical use of Ultra emerges in preparation for the Normandy landings. Through 1943 and early 1944, Bletchley Park monitors German assessments of Allied strength and anticipates defensive adjustments. Crucially, Ultra supports the massive deception campaign Operation Fortitude, which convinces German high command that the invasion will strike Pas-de Calais rather than Normandy. Enigma decrypts allow the Allies to confirm the deception is working. Hitler refuses to redeploy panzer divisions even after D-Day begins, convinced the Normandy attack is a diversion. Military historians later judge that ultra-intelligence shortens the war by at least 2 years, saving millions of lives. But inside Bletchley's huts, such sweeping impact remains invisible. Workers focus only on streams of characters, bits of metal, and electric signals. Their world is compartmentalized to protect the mission. The secrecy is so restrictive that some who operate bombs never learn that the machines are part of breaking German codes. They only know that their task must be done precisely and silently. The strain of silence is immense. Some workers buckle under pressure, others form tight bonds, but all remain acutely aware that a single careless word could undo everything. Small reminders of wartime isolation creep in: blackout curtains, ration meals, nightly air, raid sirens. Even Alan Turing, whose breakthroughs transform cryptanalysis, struggles socially. His homosexuality, criminalized in Britain, forces aspects of his life further into secrecy. Colleagues remember him as eccentric yet brilliant, running to work in worn trainers, fixing a broken bike chain with a strip of paper, solving problems aloud while pacing halls. Recognition from superiors is muted by confidentiality. Success is measured in sinking tonnage graphs, not applause. There are failures too, periods when new German security procedures plunge entire communication channels into darkness, requiring new methods to restore access. And there are moments of terrible moral ambiguity. Ultra sometimes reveals imminent German reprisals or U-boat attacks. But acting on this knowledge could expose the code-breaking advantage. Decisions weigh human lives against the long-term objective of victory. Commanders make agonizing choices to let tragedies unfold so larger catastrophes can be avoided. After the Allied advance across Europe in 1944 and Germany's surrender in 1945, Bletchley Park does not celebrate publicly. Instead, personnel are instructed to maintain secrecy indefinitely. Bombs are dismantled or scrapped. Colossus machines are classified, their technical details hidden for decades. Workers return home unable to explain where they served or why it mattered, receiving no medals or recognition. They bury years of pressure and trauma beneath silence. The world assumes victory was won on beaches and battlefields, unaware that a network of thinkers in wooden huts redirected the war. Alan Turing's story becomes one of the war's greatest tragedies. Despite being one of the key architects of Ultra and a founding figure of computer science, He is prosecuted in 1952 for gross indecency because of his homosexuality. Forced into chemical castration, his health and dignity deteriorate. On the 7th of June, 1954, Turing dies from cyanide poisoning, ruled a suicide. Though debate continues, his contributions remain classified, preventing public understanding of his importance. Only decades later is the truth revealed. The man whose logic helped defeat the Nazis died stigmatized by the nation he saved. In 2013, Queen Elizabeth II grants him a posthumous royal pardon, but history's correction arrives far too late. Recognition for Bletchley Park comes gradually, in the 1970s and 1980s. Declassification of ultra-intelligence allows historians to document the immense impact of the codebreakers. Veterans finally speak of their roles. Memorials commemorate the thousands of women whose precise work powered the bombs in Colossus. Museums preserve huts 6 and 8. Colossus is reconstructed, and the mansion becomes a symbol of hidden wartime intellect. Scholars rewrite the narrative of WE victories. Intelligence and computation emerge as decisive as armor and artillery. Today, the legacy of Bletchley Park extends beyond military triumph. The bomb in Colossus lay foundations for modern computing, inspiring the digital revolution that shapes everyday life. Cryptography evolves into cybersecurity. Signals intelligence becomes central to global defense strategy. And the story of Enigma becomes a parable about overconfidence. The Germans believed a machine guaranteed control, forgetting that machines reflect the limitations of their makers. Humans, flawed, inventive, persistent, found the weakness. The war against Enigma and Lorenz was not glamorous. It was a battle of paper cuts, late nights, mechanical failures, bursts of inspiration, and relentless discipline. It showed that intelligence can be as powerful as any weapon, and that freedom sometimes depends not on the strongest armies, but on the brightest minds working in silence. As visitors walk the grounds of Bletchley Park today, they pass under the same oak branches and brick walls that once guarded the world as most important secret. In those huts, among scratches on desks and faded diagrams pinned to corkboards, history shifted. A group of mathematicians, linguists, chess players, engineers, teleprinter operators, and clerks, many barely out of university, many never known by name, changed the fate of nations by turning chaos into clarity. The intercepts they decrypted, guided convoys, influenced battlefields, undermined Nazi strategy, and accelerated liberation. They did it without expectation of reward, driven by determination to stop a tyranny threatening all of Europe. When the war ended, they melted back into ordinary life, carrying memories too heavy to share. But their victory endured, a triumph of logic over violence, of knowledge over oppression. And each time a code is cracked, a computer runs a program, or a society is protected by encrypted communication. The quiet echoes of Bletchley Park continue, proof that the sharpest weapons are often those forged in the mind.